all the footage and all the VODs of the other teams in all the other regions, we might see her. But we'll head to Consulate and we'll get game number 1 underway between BRK and Merciless Gaming, and we'll see if our predictions about Ying were correct. This is going to be an exciting match. Let's take you there.
So to start things off, it's going to be Merciless Gaming on attack, BRK on defense. What?
What do you see? Right away, there is a Ying on attack.
So there is going to be a Ying on the attacking side of things. Not that surprised, to be honest. I mean, this is, again, the new meta, and it's going to be coming from Merciless Gaming. I mean, even King George said it was forced and then used Ying. So it might be forced as in terms of a meta, but it also could be just outright a good idea in general. Now, we are seeing BRK go to the lobby to start us off, and that is going to be, I think, also the sort of bomb site that Ying could be very useful.
He's be able to breach in there and just get a couple down right in the doorway. BRK, I would assume, expect some form of smoke plant on that main doorway. It just seems almost too easy to just get the main doorway down into the main lobby, throw a couple smokes in, some candelas, and go. Not going to be too surprised to see somebody sitting upstairs in that one office by the overturned table. Just watching, it does look like Zig is going to set up top, so a smart plan from him.
Yeah, so just, it might come as a surprise to a lot of people, but the main doorway is actually the hardest place to plant the diffuser on this entire bomb site. There's almost no chance that's going to happen, and the reason for that is because the defenders set up quite a lot of their focus to deny just that. You can open up the drop downs in the main lobby and throw C4 from underneath to hurl it all the way to the front door, and that will stop any diffuse plant attempt. So you can roam downstairs to accomplish that. And then also you could do what we just saw there from the mirror, which is opening up that floor above and the ceiling in the main lobby to just shoot anyone who walks in through front door. Now, the reason that's not as useful, I would argue, is because it's so easy for the attackers to take control of projector room. Once they have control of projector room, it's really not that difficult to use that vertical control and go into the B-bomb site and simply plant through the front door, as we were talking about earlier.
They have the buck for them, no jackal, so the smokes are going to come from Ying, but they still have the destructibility from above. Novice here, I think it's pronounced Novice. The more I looked at it, I would assume that it would be Novice. Looks like he's going to be able to push in here. Yuke above is going to sit and wait. And you can hear that Scorpion going off in the background. It will be the first encounter as we approach the halfway mark of round number 1.
You can see there's a crossfire being set up here between 1 and Yuke, and that's going to be just waiting for anybody to vault in through this A balcony window, which is an important step for Merciless Gaming to take in order to get this round in their favor. They have to take control over projector if they plan on planting inside the B-bomb site. It's going to be a difficult task, though, as there's so many things put in the way of that particular step.
The crossfire between the smoke and the Ella is going to cause a lot of trouble for Novice to be able to get inside. The first Candela will go off, and he's going to push in, and he's going to get Yuke. What a shot from him. Ness gets a kill on that C4, and wow, Novice gets away with a kill that I would say he shouldn't have had there on 1, as Nesk is going to get another, this time on Cyber, and it is 3-3. So a bout of action will start things off, a fracas, if you may.
I love it.
Zig is going to get hunted down. Novice is going to get Nesk. And wow, what a shot from Zig. His bullet gets downed by Novice. And
That's
it's just the Mira left. Wow, Intact finishes things off. And Merciless Gaming, in surprising fashion, takes round number 1 on what was a very triumphant push in.
Yeah, and it was pretty much down to Novice or Naviz, or whichever it may be. It was pretty much down to him forcing his way into that projector room, getting that swift double kill, and I agree with you. I think that he really shouldn't have been allowed to do that. I mean, we had 2 people waiting for him to make that vault happen in through the balcony, and as soon as the Ella pushed out of the main admin office and came over to projector to back up 1, they just dropped their guard entirely. They were like, we don't need to watch the balcony. That's not important. It's not the most important thing they could possibly be pushing right this minute. And, well, it certainly was. That swift double kill from the Habana allowed them full control over the B-bomb site. Then it was as simple as Merciless waltzing on in through the main door and finishing out that round. Also, a 4K from Navi's. That's very impressive. Although, again, it got handed to him.
Absolutely. I'm not exactly certain what happened with 1, that smoke that was sitting in the corner, because it did look like he rotated from the office into projector room because they knew that the push was going to come from Hibana into that room. Yuke decided to patrol the floor in that open hatch that they open floor they'd opened up by the hatch. And then when he stormed in, what was one doing? How was he unable to get that frag? Very confusing.
That is the question. I think what must have happened there with one is, I think that what must have happened there with one is that he was throwing a smoke grenade, or maybe he got caught in a reload, something was going on, and he just couldn't respond to the threat.
To me, it looked like he just simply might have missed his whole clip. That SMG-11 is something that you can go through an entire magazine in 2 seconds flat.
Yeah.
And if that vaulting animation, sometimes it doesn't appear what it may be.
Right.
If you're unable to get a proper kill on that vault, then that's it. You're all out of bullets, and you're going to have to scramble. And he ended up winning the fight, and the smoke went down.
Right you are, and despite that though, I mean, we do have this round now coming out, and BRK is also bringing a Ying to the field. So this new meta, as we've discussed many times, actually rearing its head here in the Latin American region. Finally, Ying is seeing quite a lot of play. Also, we are seeing Blackbeard from one, which is taking me a little off guard. I wasn't expecting to see as much Blackbeard play from these guys, specifically BRK, in this match, but if that's what one needs and that's what the team wants, then that is what will happen. Now, BRK, they have taken control of this top floor, denying any roamers upstairs, and they are going to start working on the middle floor now. This is, again, a very typical basement attack. There is no Jackal to streamline it to make it go faster, but that's just fine, as they have been pretty efficient so far. They are going to start pressuring onto the bathroom, and that's going to be the real test. If they don't lose anyone when taking out these roamers in the bathroom, or at least forcing them off, then they will be successful in this round. Bullet's going to start with a kill onto Navi's. It's already looking pretty good for BRK.
I think the Blackbeard might have simply been what I would assume they thought would be a second floor bomb site. Going garage will catch them off guard. Nesk is going to drop PX right now, and you can see BRK is answering back on this round. Maybe a slow start. Shades of the rogue WBG game yesterday, where WBG stormed out to the first round and then were not successful at that point. We could see the same thing here. Hopefully no, but it looks like we might see another member of Merciless go down now as Intact gets shot at from the thermite of Zig as they've opened up that main garage. And the Iron Sights Bandit just waiting, but gets finished off. Uke from above, only a sliver of health for Intact, and now Cyber under fire too. Tries to get back on site. That'll leave just Boar with any health whatsoever for Merciless, and will have to push up. Bullet, not sure what he doesn't see, and one is going to push up. It's all up to Boar to peek around this corner and get some shots off on the Blackbeard. Aim for the body, not for the head, and you're going to have a lot greater time. Cyber's going to get Nesk, and wow, Boar gets away with a second kill. Uke takes out Cyber, so it is 1-2. Still the Ying and the Thermite up with the castle, and the diffuser goes down. Boar, the last member of defense, is going to have his work cut out for him. Zig scampers off the bomb site and is now going to patiently wait. Looks like that they'll be setting up a crossfire as Uke stands outside, and all they need to do is wait for the sound of him beating that diffuser. And it makes it very easy for them to get up and pick off the final remaining defender. After a strong start, it looks like Merciless Gaming might be losing this round. But he's going to come outside, and that looked like it was a Candela. No, and Zig! After the Candela can't even go off, Zig gets the kill, and we are tied.
So it looks like we'll be having a rehost after that. The round count is still going to be, I believe, 1-1. Just a technical issue here, ladies and gentlemen. While we get everything sorted out, we'll get back to the match as soon as possible. But both of these teams, what we've seen from them so far has been a little bit surprising as to the last week from the Latin American region, and that there is a lot more Ying play. Now, only 2 rounds in, but both teams really taking grasp of that. And despite the map not, map not being Oregon, which is where we see the most Ying play, and I really like that. I think that trying to usher her in is sensible. Her meta, some people has accused of being a little bit cancerous, like just, well, oh no, I can't see anything. I can't see through the smokes, I can't see through the Candelas. That's a problem. But I think it really just changes the pacing of the game. And I think that's what the attackers are using to their advantage in every region early on. So There is argument to say that it is a really good thing. I think that it'll actually die off after a while. Eventually, I believe that Ying will just become predictable, and teams will be able to deal with that new pacing that she sets forth, and it won't catch anyone off guard anymore. We'll see what happens. Let's get back into the game here, ladies and gentlemen. There was not, in fact, a rehost. That was my missed call. There was just a slight technical issue we had to deal with, and we're back.
With my opinions on Ying, and you saw this too, is that there was an uproar almost from the community into what was shaping up to be the smoke meta. We saw that with Glaz when his, I guess his thermal ability came through. And he
I
could
think
see
it was
through
more
the
the
smoke.
thermal ability that made people angry about that.
People didn't like how many smokes there were available, especially when your Thermite and your Ashes still had them. So what did they do? They took them away. And then there were some issues, people saying, oh, well, it's not fun to play against a rushing Ashe with the ability to also blind you with those flashbangs.
Agreed.
But now we see there's an operator whose sole job, at least that a lot of these teams are employing, is a smoke flash combo, which to most people, this is the worst of both worlds to play against, and it makes it very difficult. And I don't mean worst of both worlds in regards to the fact that it's wrong for the game, but to some people that don't know how to counter it, it can be very frustrating.
And that's what I'm saying, is I think eventually the community and the pro teams of course first will learn how to develop counters for that particular meta, dealing with the flashbangs and the smoke grenades as pacing. And really that's all it is. And once they figure out how to deal with that, I'm sure that she'll probably get phased out of the meta at some point. But in this round, we have seen Navi's push himself onto the A balcony yet again. BRK also, yet again, defending that first floor as they were unsuccessful there the first time. Now, it is going to be up to one to not let his guard down this time and actually keep a train on this A balcony window. And also down to Yuke to not waltz into the middle of Projector and also let his guard down. Attack is going to repel into the connector window, though, and he's going to be going for the flank of one. He gets flanked himself, though, by Zig, and Yuke, another kill over by Admin. The entire Merciless Gaming team has been torn apart through the front door. An unsuccessful smoke push, leaving Boar as the last remaining member.
A 1v5 not in favor of the team that you know is capable of clutching this, and wow, a flawless round from BRK as Zig pops up and finishes Boar off. And after a slow start, the last two rounds, BRK's looked almost unstoppable.
And it is a little bit reminiscent of WBG, as you said earlier. I think this is what we're seeing right now. Now the BRK has successfully defended their preferred bomb site, I want to know where they're going to go next. Of course, it's going to be Garage from Merciless, and we'll see if they can make that work for them. They didn't last time, so obviously different preferred bomb sites from both of these teams, trying to hammer out their #1 slot and get that as a win on the board. Now, I'm really curious if Merciless Gaming can actually make this work for them, because last time what happened was BRK just ruthlessly hunted down those roamers, gave Merciless no room to breathe. Then once they had the roamers eliminated, opened up that garage, and Merciless, this is kind of their fault. They were too exposed to the open garage panels as they were anchoring in the bomb site, and that is the sort of thing, that's step #1 when you're holding Garage, is don't try to challenge Garage. Use your utility such as Echo drones to go ahead and give yourself the advantage, denying the push into the Garage itself. And hopefully Merciless can fix that mistake that they had last time, and they won't lose any unnecessary manpower in the earlier stages of this round.
They knew that they were exposed too, which is why you saw a couple members try to attack that flank. One coming down spiral stairs, which was the Blackbeard of one, and then you saw the Twitch as well come down, which if I remember correctly was Bullet. And he came down that stairs from Visa to try and flush out Boar, the castle that was holed up there, and then put pressure on White Van and the back of Garage while you had your Thermite doing work on the front of Garage to get that diffuser down, but an excellent hold from Boar there. And that's what they're going to need to see this time around, as after a strong start, they have fallen off a bit, and BRK looks firmly in control. 30 seconds in, team compositions looking very similar. An Echo comes out, no smoke, but with the Mute and the Bandit, it's going to be a lot of information that is deprived to the attack, or deprived from the attackers. And I wonder if that's what Merciless is trying to do, just slow down BRK and waste as much time as possible and make them have to push into what I assume is going to be a well-coordinated defense, and that Echo is going to be the cornerstone of that.
I also like the usage of Mute here. He's not as big in the meta as he used to be. He's always been kind of a side pick, you know, not really the #1 ever at any point. And that stands to reason as he's not amazingly useful, but in certain circumstances, like on Consulate, for example, I think specifically, he does find a lot of usefulness. In denying the drones pushing up those down those yellow stairs, it means that they can't tell if anyone's playing on pipes, pillar, or white. So the defenders, Merciless Gaming, will have a lot more maneuverability and a lot more anonymity when they're actually challenging onto the attackers pushing in.
And they're still trying to employ that Twitch drone to get rid of those jammers. They took out the bandit charges you saw from the Ash play of Nesk. But a minute 30 here, all 10 operators still alive, and BRK seems to be falling into the trap that I think Merciless wanted them to have, which was to delay and deny them entry. And when you don't have that information, you don't have the knowledge of where the defenders are, you can't have that same level of confidence and precision to get into the site. It shows right now as BRK looks like they're going to scramble with the final 60 seconds now to go.
Yuke starts opening up behind the white van and into the kitchen. This is going to give him a lot of information, also getting rid of the most important, one of the most important holds for the defenders, Merciless Gaming, inside the garage. But they're playing very passively. I think they are using just what I was talking about earlier, utility, to try and slow down this attack as much as possible. The Echo Drone is actually at the top of yellow stairs, which is dangerous when we're talking about a garage attack, but it doesn't seem like BRK is focused on garage whatsoever.
It's going to keep hitting the Ying of Yuke, and it does appear it's just a time-wasting situation right now. A very good hold from Merciless, and we'll see how it goes as now Cyber drops down and takes Yuke down. He's going to go for one inside a main lobby, and this is a very aggressive play. Nesk is going to come up and get Navi's down, and BRK scrambling with 10 seconds. Cyber's going to pick up a second kill as he takes down Nesk as he gets back on site and gets a third kill, this time on Zig. Bullet disoriented above with one beneath him. BRK just going to run out of time. A quadra kill for Cyber, and he's not going to be able to get that ace because the time runs out, but every single kill onto that Ella flank. I don't want to say I told you so, but a flanking Ella using that rotation in the hatch to drop down was all too powerful, and that was the key to that round. Excellent job by Merciless to tie it up.
You did tell us so. So a good flank, like you said, from Cyber, and that's all it really took, but it's not all that actually happened. There was quite a lot of delay from Merciless Gaming to deny BRK access to not only the garage, but also just in general, the building as a whole. They were unable, and this is the main thing, they were unable to flash out those roamers. If they had been able to push Cyber down to the basement or kill him more optimally, then it would have been a completely different round. But they stalled out when their capabilities got into, well, they became prevalent to them, where they were like, okay, well, we can't really just go to the garage and push in because we have to deal with this problem here. If we don't deal with Cyber upstairs, then he's just going to use Piano to deny us Diffuser Plant in front of White. And that is what would have happened, but I feel like it could have handled it a little bit better. I'm used to BRK just hunting down the roamers, so it's kind of odd that they didn't go for that this time.
Knowing that BRK has a strong roam game, or sorry, a strong drone game and an anti-roam game,
yes,
I would expect that Merciless, having seen all the footage that there is available to BRK, that you would know that the best way to blunt their attack is to slow that down. The Ella of Cyber was playing very well, dodging the drones and constantly moving with those mute jammers, providing the fog of war.
Yep.
And it wasn't easy for BRK to be able to track down the roamers because of the way that everything was set up on their defense. So great plays to them. I want to give them extreme commendation. And for the first time this round, no Ying. We're going to see a Glaz, interestingly enough, instead from Cyber. And you saw earlier he had 5 kills, 4 of those coming in the last round. He's hot right now.
Glaz arguably one of the operators that has not the best gun in the game. It's actually, I think, the worst DMR that I know of in the entire game, as it has the slowest rate of fire and slowest time to kill. But it does see through those smokes. So as soon as you get smokes on the floor, you can start to actually put a lot of pressure through them, and the defenders can't really reciprocate said pressure, especially if you're using a silencer and eliminate your tracers. Now we're going to have Merciless Gaming pushing into the main floor, but they haven't dealt with the roamers yet. Getting these drop-downs open is great, but again, that late flank that could potentially come from Bullet here at the top of, or the middle of Visa Stairs could be detrimental to the push as a whole. At least they're going to be conscious of it, and they will likely put a gun facing towards that spiral Visa hallway. Now, as the Merciless Gaming uses this vertical control, the time is starting to tick away, and they are going to get panel 1 of the garage opened up. Optimally, they can get panel 3 as well, and that will give them, they will do that. That will give them a lot of maneuverability when actually pushing in, and it means they can deal with pipes and back of White and pillar in much more free-form fashion, as opposed to allowing one of them to push, or one of the defenders who would be playing those positions to push aggressively onto, well, the attackers push into the bomb site.
Absolutely. And Yuke is going to sit and try and get a roam off similar to what we just saw last round, but a lot less health for him too. So it's really going to come down to whether or not he's able to win that heads-up gunfight. Bullet still lurks on that first floor. And with Ellis sitting above, you've got to wonder if Merciless is going to be able to get to site with the same amount of confidence. Running out of time.
Yeah, they also have to use time. Intact is going to get the first kill of this round on a Nesk, but the time is ticking away.
40 seconds left, just under 40 seconds left. Only one person down, and that's Nesk. Yuke still very low on health, and BRK is just going to have to hold on. Navi's is going to get a couple shots off on the mirror, and that's Zig down. So BRK with one falling now, two to the glass of Cyber. Cyber continuing his hot play. Boar goes down to Yuke, and there's only two left. They're roamers. Yuke's going to get another, though, on the run. Doesn't even matter if there's not a lot of health. He will delay some time outside and need to get back in as he's exposed. Gets finished off, and Merciless picks up two fast kills to pull themselves ahead. Their second lead of the day. And after BRK looked to be in control so early on, Merciless Gaming right now hanging on to that lead.
Yeah, so what happened there for Merciless Gaming? What happened there for BRK? Well, it seemed like Merciless Gaming was kind of exposing themselves unnecessarily to the roam game of BRK, but while we were so focused on that, Merciless was simply waltzing in through the main garage, and there was nothing from BRK in the way of denying that main garage push. Now, when the main garage push came in, it was as simple as planting the diffuser or walking out, and that's all that she wrote. Effectively, the Habana moving up into the main lobby with the Buck was a distraction. But because of that one kill, you may have forgotten it, but that one kill that Intact got using his Buck through the floor, again, that was all of the pressure alleviated from the garage push, and that's what prompted them to actually make that push happen. Now, BRK, they had a good plan there. They had enough manpower in theory to stop the garage push. Of course, they lost it. And if that had not happened, it could have gone a different way. But they invested too heavily, I would argue, in their roam game as a whole. More importantly, when the roam game was responsible to push in and try to actually put pressure on the flanks of Merciless Gaming upstairs, they didn't do that. They waited too long and were too patient overall.
Another thing, too, was Merciless ignored the roamers. And this is something that you can see some teams have differing success with. But they basically just left Bullet all on his own, same with Yuke, and were able to pressure that site. It put them at essentially a glorified 5v3. And by the time Yuke was able to get a couple frags, it was way too late.
And the real problem with that is that the BRK is they're the roamers. They're the ones not taking that initiative and opportunity that Merciless is giving them. It's not really Merciless being like, oh, we're outplaying them, we're ignoring the roamers, oh boy. It's BRK not using their roamers. They have to actually put them in a position to be effective. Or
it could have been that maybe Merciless using that drone work. They had Bullet on drone almost, I would say probably at least half of the match. I don't know. I don't even know if you can even say that it was BRK not doing their job. Merciless seemed to do a strategy we saw yesterday was, wait, the site is weak, let's push it.
Might be a really good call for them and also a really good cutoff with that information. Either way, an excellent round from Merciless Gaming. That's the important thing. They did win it. And they are putting themselves, of course, in that 3-2 lead, which is something nobody expected. Well, 80% of people didn't expect.
20% did?
Yeah, 20% did, but that's still those... Go 20%. But yeah, no, it's BRK now at the losing their lead, and it was kind of surprising. They are going to be attacking onto this admin office. Now, the admin office is where a lot of teams on Consulate will start their attack, whether it be a basement defense or an upstairs defense, in this case, an upstairs defense. And the reason is it gives you a lot of potential for maneuverability later into the round and a lot of control in the beginning of the round. They're going to have trouble with that mirror window, though, as there is there is a Merciless Gaming defender inside, I think that's Cyber, inside of the admin office who can shoot the Habanas as they land on PX's mirror window. That means that this pressure that BRK is trying to exert onto the admin is being stalled out. There's only a minute left in the round, and BRK has accomplished exactly nothing aside from lighting PX up.
Which he just does now, and Merciless's defense is looking exceptionally improved over the last couple of tries. something that is going to bode well for their chances now, too, as they will still have one more defense ahead of them.
We could see match point right now for Merciless.
We could even see match point right now, and they're going to get the lead-off frag. PX, even though he did get lit up, is going to finish off Yuke. That is the Ying down, and not a great use of the Candelas so far. Bullet is going to get Cyber off, so it's 4v4, and one storms into that site. Now all it takes is Nesk to rush in. He gets intact. BRK right now in the driver's seat as PX goes down. 4v2 with 15 seconds in round number 5. Or round number 6, rather. My apologies there. Nesk takes out Navi's, and it's just Boar on site 1v4. But the timer, he's going to see BRK. He's going to go for a kill here. He's going to take the shield out, get the smoke down. One is going to get away, but the diffuser going off. They've holed him up inside a bathroom. It's going to take an awful lot of work for him to be able to get out. Tries to drop shot his way to victory, but Bullet gets that kill. And after Merciless was able to get that leadoff frag, it was all BRK from that point. No match point, 3-3.
Somewhat surprising there. They actually finished out that attack. They executed that entire attack within 40 seconds. That was a very effective and efficient round from BRK. Although I have to give a lot of credit to Merciless as well for making the stall happen. Ultimately, though, it doesn't matter if you stall out if you don't actually have enough manpower on the bomb site to deny the diffuser plan. And what happened was, for the most part, it was just Nesk getting that double kill downstairs, those roamers not really being useful at all. It would have been really nice to see those roamers default back up through yellow stairs and just help hold Big Desk as well as just the bomb sites themselves. That would have probably resulted in Merciless winning that round and then putting themselves on match point, but because they lingered downstairs in the middle floor, they ended up just being easy to pick off by a player such as Nesk, who is, again, one of those guys that you have to watch. He is a very skilled individual, and he will always dig his team out of a ditch. Now he's on 8 frags here in this match, and he is probably certainly the main driving force for BRK.
He's had a great performance so far. Merciless is right now living and dying off of the 2 carries on their team. You have Cyber doing an amazing job at the moment, and Navis as well. When both of them get taken out early, or if they're not able to move as freely as they want and open up opportunities for the rest of their teammates, they as a whole don't perform the way they need to. Whereas you can see with BRK, with the exception of one, it's a bit more of an even spread, but the whole team is pulling their weight better than Merciless is right now. Underway in round number 7, 30 seconds in. Match point after the end of this round, no matter what. No Ying, second time in a row.
I don't think she's going to find much use on the top floor attack. I think it stands to reason that you're going to bring a Glaz instead. But it also is kind of just preference at that point, because Glaz is going to be fulfilling a similar role, but with less disruption and more frag capability, arguably, with that rifle. Now, the cool thing about his rifle, the Glaz rifle, is that it has almost no damage drop-off now. So where you see Cyber playing right now, all the way out by the spawn, is going to be still doing a lot of damage to any defenders he can hit at that range.
Right, and it's not uncommon to see, at least last season, a Blackbeard positioned up there by the office, and this time around, they eschew that. And the only Blackbeard I think we've seen so far is from one on BRK. Half the round to go, and the same thing that we've seen the last 3 rounds. A lot more patience being exhibited by both teams. The Buck of Intact up top will circle that skylight. And Bullet is about to meet his fate inside of that lobby by Visa. He's going to be able to get 1 kill on 4. That's going to delay their push, but there will be backup. Bullet is able to scramble now downstairs onto the bottom floor under fire from Navi's inside of Garage, and Bullet's just going to stay on the move. The benefits of a 3-speed operator.
Yeah, and it's 3-speed on 3-speed as Navi's challenges Bullet on this spiral staircase. It is going to be a bit of a Mexican standoff here, as Navi's doesn't want to actually aggressively peek onto Bullet. Bullet will attain the angle, and he now has the advantage as Navi starts droning. If Navi's drone isn't actually just being thrown, no, here it comes up the spiral staircase, and Bullet will be spotted. Meanwhile, Nesk gets a C4 onto PX, and Intact, a kill onto 1 through the wall. And it's going to be a 4-on-2 as Yuke gets another kill onto Intact. It's looking very good here for BRK as Nesk gets his 2nd kill onto Cyber. It's all down to Navi's coming up from this spiral staircase. He has to attain the diffuser and deal with Bullet in the hallway. Unable to do so. It will be a BRK round, putting it now onto 4-3.
There was some doubt, I think, in the mind of the viewers as well as us as to how this was going to shake out when it was 3-2 in favor of Merciless. That was a almost flawlessly executed round by BRK.
Well, it wasn't flawlessly executed. They in the a couple first seconds, it was you know, and then it was absolutely flawless. In the last 40 seconds, that was perfect. It was every single action they took was absolutely on point. So I agree with you, but only in the last 40 seconds, which is really scary when you're talking about this level of play. Usually a team like Merciless Gaming, in that instance, they're going to be coming back to that bomb site like we talked about earlier and isolating themselves and locking things out and not giving up free frags. And if that had happened, I would have said, I would have thought this would have gone into match point in the opposite direction.
And look at the scoreboard right now for BRK. Nesk breaking double digits at 10-0-4. And I know we said this yesterday, but tonight, it's frightening that they are up 4-3 with 1 right now not on the board. This would be a totally different game, I feel like, if he had a couple kills there. And who knows, as much of a mental game as this is, that first round where he missed that opening shot, could that be playing into his confidence?
Remember yesterday when it was Most Wanted versus Elevate, and Shala had like 1 or 2 frags, and then he wins the match against Skies, who is just beasting on everyone on Most Wanted.
Yes.
He gets a 4K, and then he just can't get that final kill into Shala. Impact frags. I'm guessing we're going to have a situation here, maybe in this round, maybe in the possible overtime, where one gets a couple frags, or a 3K even, and he puts his team into the map number 2 with them having the advantage. That's probably what's going to happen here for BRK. Never have a player at this level anymore that can't pull weight at all. Now, as Ness challenges onto the defenders playing in CEO, he will get echo droned. That's the long game being played there by Boar, and will delay Ness quite a lot. This challenge, though, is pretty early into the round. There's still not a whole minute gone yet. And that means that BRK is being very efficient with their roam clear. This is what I expected to see from BRK from the get-go, was a very effective and efficient roam clear, where they all drone for each other and clear very quickly. There is Navis, of course, with that with those mute jammers, but they aren't seeming to be very useful in this round so far. The Echo Drone more so.
Nesk is being perpetually harassed, not able to really gain any ground whatsoever. Because the moment he does, a bout of disorientation from that Yokai. You hear it go off again. Bullet's going to get lead-off frag, and BRK looking to finish this map off. Match point, of course, for us on Consulate, 4-3 in favor of BRK. More disorientation. Bullet's going to take some damage from Intact, but the Bandit is going to be able to get away. Nesk softened up 2. And if he's done battling with the Yokai drone, just a perpetual state of drunkenness, it appears, for the Ash.
It doesn't even look like he's trying to challenge the drone itself, instead just submitting to his fate and trying to shoot people through the drunkenness. One is going to get a nice headshot onto Intact coming down that spiral staircase through the main doorway. And here you can see the outside control for BRK working wonders as Ness gets another kill. That's at the top floor, clearing out those roamers yet again. Now it's all down to PX and Boar, the last 2 defenders, and a 2v5. And the only anchors on their team, I have seen time and time again, Merciless lose rounds, or I would say this is probably going to be a lost round, because they invest too much in their roam game. And BRK is notorious for being proficient at hunting the roam game. It seems counterintuitive to me, and unfortunately, Merciless continues to make this mistake. While there isn't much time, there is still a 2v5, and it's going to be very difficult for PX and Boar to get this round.
And it sounds like the whole Consulate is coming down around them. The Mira of PX pushes up, Nesk finishes them off. It's all up to Boar. He'll get Nesk on a couple nice shots. Pressured from above by Yuke, not enough. And BRK is going to take match number 1 here on Consulate. To Oregon we go. And right now, that 80% looking like they are correct.
So this also, Consulate, was Merciless's map pick. So this is where they were looking to put themselves ahead. And now moving on to BRK's map pick, Oregon, I have to wonder if Merciless is going to have a chance.
It could go either way for me. You've always
also
seen teams overperform, but look at Nesk's 12 kills right now. Absolutely incredible. And Yuke, a little bit farther down, sitting at 8-2. So great job by both of them.
Now, we don't have any highlights for you from that match, but it was a spectacular one. And of course, you can go back on the VOD if you want to see it all what happened again. We are going to be moving on to Oregon as quickly as we can here, and I'm guessing that it's going to be a pretty decisive win in favor of BRK, simply because, again, it's their map. It's where they want to go, and Merciless on their own map couldn't put up more than 3 rounds. That's not very doesn't instill a lot of confidence, to say the least.
I'm going to side the other way, and we'll see which one of us was more correct. I think that Merciless has right now played quite well and been able to take the fight to BRK.
Mhm.
Going into Consulate,
The
I
only
wasn't exactly certain if BRK was going to steamroll them or not, and I
Mhm.
think on Oregon it's going to be a bit more of a fairer match like we did see in map number 1.
I think it'll be okay. So I'm going to retract my statement. I'm going to revise, and I'm going to say this. I think that what was the problem was with Merciless's Consulate was
Right.
their roam game. That's it.
Absolutely.
Their roam game cost them that match. Not because they invested too heavily in it necessarily, but because it was torn apart time and time again by BRK. If they can have a successful roam game, then they could probably have better routes. Now, on a map like Oregon, there's a lot of different roam mantras and a lot of different doctrines for that map. There are a lot of different options
Right.
in general. You can invest in West Side, but we don't see that happen nearly as much as it used to. It was only ever happened in the Latin American region, really. And I don't see Merciless doing that. So that means their roamers, if they have them, are going to be much more close to home to the bomb site, which means they will be more likely to influence the round in the grand scheme. And I think that that's going to at least give Merciless a sense of direction, whether they know it or not, and will probably help them actually pull out a couple rounds here, if not win the map. So while I still think that BRK has the edge overall, I think Merciless Gaming will put more of a fight on a map like Oregon, despite it not being their pick, simply because the roam game will be forced to be useful, whether or not they know about it.
One thing that Merciless did very well was I'm going to highlight that one roam that they did using the mute jammers with the roaming
liked
Ella.
it.
It was very well, but there was a change that I saw in BRK. The first time, they kept trying to drone and drone and drone to find the roamers, but kept running into the issues with those mute jammers. And what that meant was that while none of them were actually getting in the building to challenge or drone out a room and then push in, they would drone a couple rooms. They would either lose the drone, or by the time they were able to get to that room, the roamers had rotated. And Merciless was doing a very good job of staying on their feet. BRK changed it, and I noticed that one time that the mute went down first and foremost for Merciless was because BRK started getting bodies in the sites and in the rooms. They would drone a very small area and push in, and that was a change that they made to nullify the strategy that had worked on them, and it was a great, I think, a lesson to learn for them at that point, and it was an adaptation that ultimately ended up taking what was a good defense from Merciless and counteracting it and making it go in the strength of BRK.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. But overall, I think it just comes back to BRK coming back to BRK, which is
Yes.
we hunt roamers, we get rid of roamers, and then we start our side attack. And that's it. Because that's what they're notorious for. That's what they've always been notorious for.
Yes. Now, we are preparing for Oregon here. If you're going to do the drone hunting and the roamer game that you see that BRK does, Merciless can potentially keep 4 on site. It's not unheard of on Oregon.
Well,
you do have 1 roamer. But what do you think they're going to use their roamers and their utility for?
So in the basement, I think what's going to be happening for Merciless is they're probably going to be defending and roaming inside of the meeting hall and the tower. They might fall off the tower at some point, but the meeting hall, I think they'll pertain for as long as they can. Then they're probably going to default back into the site through the drop down, same as we typically see. And then hopefully before they actually get picked off by the BRK roam hunt, which is, again, that is the problem. Now, the reason that I think that will give them an edge is because that's so easy to do compared to roaming on Consulate. Roaming on Consulate, there's no, just answer that, yes, okay, you do this, and this will always work for you. Roaming on Oregon is pretty much just yeah, if you get to the drop down before they could pressure you from tower or lobby, then of course you're going to be fine. So Don't worry too much about it. Or you can even just challenge the angles. You can stay in meeting hall. It is achievable. It's difficult, but achievable. So either way, and then on the top floor, what's probably going to happen on the top floor is the roam game that we also so commonly see also, which is we'll play in the kitchen, we'll play in the meeting hall, and we'll try to avoid death as long as possible before coming back to the bomb site. Now, I don't actually expect that to be very useful for Merciless Gaming, but at least the roamers will have more room to breathe. We are going to get into the match, though, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be Oregon. It's going to be BRK starting on attack, Merciless Gaming starting on a defense, and we'll see if that roam game will be more influential here on this map.
Not really big on the idea of stacking bodies up in meeting hall, especially with how good BRK has been. I think that's going to be a foolhardy defensive strategy. And Merciless Gaming, I don't know if they're going to have the same ability to flush them out.
Well, the reason that I would argue for it is because the only other way that I'm going to see Merciless Gaming roaming is they're going to be coming over to the the only way I'm going to see Merciless Gaming actually doing any more roaming is they'll be roaming on the west side of the building or in the top floor in the above the main lobby.
Absolutely.
And all of those positions are completely exposed. There's no way to retreat back besides attic. Attic is the only safe way to retreat back, and if you retreat to attic, then you have to still have control of meeting hall. Also, if you retreat to attic, that means that you are forfeiting control of meeting hall as a whole as soon as the attackers take control of attic, because they have that rotation hold that you have to have made.
Right.
Unless you reinforce it behind it. We did see some, I think World Best Gaming yesterday, they played some similar roaming game on the west side of the building.
Yes.
And they did reinforce that rotation in attic when they were coming back at a meeting hall. I really appreciate that. That's smart play.
That was a very
but
good play.
most teams won't do that. Most teams will make the hole, use the hole, and leave meeting hall. And so I don't like the idea of stacking up in meeting hall either. Not really. I would rather have them be more flexible, but at the same time, what I need Merciless Gaming to do is not die to the roam hunt from BRK, which is so effective. That's what I need from Merciless Gaming. So whether or not that's stacking up in the meeting hall or just going downstairs, doesn't really matter.
Our apologies there. We had some audio issues. We are now back and live in broadcast, and a couple things we're seeing right away for those that are tuning in. Number one, we see a Ying on Oregon, which has been, I would say, the rock to all of these strategies right now. Coupled with the Capitao and a Jackal, that's an awful lot of smoke. 6 smoke grenades, and with the changes to the smoke, that's enormous. BRK glad that Merciless Gaming went into the basement rather than holding upstairs in dorms.
And ladies and gentlemen, Merciless Gaming with the roam game investing so heavily in that west side of the building, which means that gives the initiative to BRK, even more so than the fact that they're on attack. Now they have everything in their ballpark to get the kills. However, Intact is going to start it off good with a kill onto Nesk. Now that's a very good frag. It was through the floor there, as you can see Intact's position here in the big kid's dorm. It was through the floor into the hallway that you see Bullet in right now.
Very bold strategy to put your smoke upstairs, because the smoke is really, with the exception of a C4, the only counter that you have, or at least on this team composition right now, if you're going to hit that hatch and start dropping in to get the plant off downstairs. We saw this so many times in the first week of matches that we saw. All of these teams refusing to run a smoke or an echo, and they just got bullied by the attackers. Now in this case, they do have a smoke, but he's upstairs. It doesn't really seem to matter because Intact's going to get another kill, and that was a great shot, and now a third as he finishes off what little was left of Uke. So making me eat my words right away by having that roaming smoke playoff, and at the moment Intact seems to be unflushable.
Yeah, so this is the Merciless roam game that we wanted to see, and now BRK, not unsuccessful clearing out the roamers, are just going to be like, all right, well maybe we can get just a defuse plant inside the lobby, and they're going to go and push their luck doing this. 2 C4s ready to meet them in that Pulse and Mira. They are going to get one of the flankers in intact, and with only 25 seconds though and no smokes left, they are going to have to go for this defuse plant.
Look to be baiting out a C4 there. It does go off, but Borg gets the kill on just a couple shots from his UMP. Cyber finishes off one, and for the second game in a row, it's Merciless taking round number 1. And we'll see if they can hang on, but a good hold. And Intact upstairs was a very unconventional play for me, but it worked out.
Yeah, and again, this comes down to the roam game for Merciless Gaming. They love their roamers. It's clear as day, and the funny thing is that BRK is one of those teams that is notorious for clearing the roamers out. They were unsuccessful in this instance, but will Merciless Gaming skill and luck actually continue to pay off on that roam game, or will it bounce back in the favor of BRK like it did last time once they figure out exactly how to handle the roam game? Now, I was saying in my thoughts about this map, I was saying that what I wanted to see from Merciless Gaming was not invest in that west side, and that's exactly what they did. Now, arguably, it's a two-way street, and technically Merciless is just as capable of being successful on a west side roam as BRK is capable of being successful on clearing out a west side roam, but it still is giving initiative to those attackers, an opportunity as well. And I think that once BRK starts to figure it out and get their grasp on things, it will start to slide back in their favor. Now we are going on to a basement defense from BRK, similar to Merciless Gaming. Big question though, will they roam west side, or will they simply maintain themselves in the bomb site and the meeting hall? It looks like they're reinforcing attic right now towards the west, so it might be just that. However, Ella, later in this prep phase, going over to the west side, maybe a solo roam coming out from Uke. That would stand to reason, as Ella is one of the most effective roaming operators with the use of her mines. They are very good at disrupting any potential lane push from the attackers.
To focus on just a little bit on what we saw last round as well, I am surprised that the change they made when they knew that the smoke of Intact was sitting upstairs in Kidstorms behind that mirror, when he got that first kill on Nesk, the rushing Ash. Instead, they stacked 2 operators up on that big window and both tried to push. One pushed in, got downed. I believe it was Yuke. Instead, you didn't dispatch one of them to very easily just repel up and pressure from Kidstorms. And then you can have that crossfire and have to force Intact to play one side or the other. They simply pushed from the same side, got picked up, and that was it. And not a very smart play from them. First frag is going to go to Navi's now, as Merciless Gaming is benefiting from some pretty good luck at the moment.
Yeah, and I have to just go back a little bit as well. On the note of those 2 people on the west window, the one thing that irks me a little bit much about that particular roam game, as Cyber is unable to get the roamer upstairs and the big kids as he falls down into the kitchen. One thing that irks me specifically is that it was the Jackal on west window. The Jackal is not supposed to be on west window. He's supposed to be coming in through the first floor and using the footsteps to his advantage. So that is just a little irksome, but it doesn't matter. We're moving on to this round now, where Merciless Gaming has gotten the first kill of the round. They are successful in their roam clear, as opposed to BRK being unsuccessful, and now they have forced BRK back to the meeting hall. So now they can start the long, arduous task of opening up that main lobby drop down, throwing down some smokes using their Ying and Candelas as well, and then getting the defuse plant just nice and easy by the dryer or the laundry or even in the middle of the room.
Curious to know how Bor is going to be able to employ his Candela with 1 minute left. It is a bit slower than I think we've expected teams with the strategy to do. Usually, once you get one roamer down, then you start to put the pressure on and wait for the one in meeting hall to come and get you. At the moment, with Bullet down, they're still taking their time, I guess showing respect to the fact that even if you leave one roamer up for a team like BRK, which right now is Yuke, you can see just sitting inside a meeting hall, you can get punished. And Yuke is the type of person that can pop up and take 2 or 3 of you down right as you least expect it, and that can heavily swing the round in your favor. Merciless Gaming appears to be lining up. Yuke right now able to just push out, can get a kill, is not drone too much, but Intact is going to try to push up to that one open wall as Yuke finally does move. Intact expects it onto him, but a bit of a stalemate with 20 seconds to go. The plan is going to go down inside of Laundry. Yuke is going to finally be able to grab a kill there as he flanks onto Cyber. Candela's going off in the background. And oh my goodness, Zig is going to get one. Then it's going to be Yuke. And as well, Nesk. Merciless just dying in a hail of gunfire right now. They have all of them down. Bullet was the only one they lost, and they just need to get that diffuser. It's an easy win for BRK, and it's a tie game.
Good defense there from BRK, much different than the Merciless hold. Less enforcement on that west side roam and more just focusing on holding the bomb site. And I like that focus from BRK. Consolidated is the word I would use to describe it, and
Absolutely.
It worked out great for them. Also, it's a little bit of an oversight there from Merciless Gaming. You saw that ping come out into the kitchen, and they're obviously in their comms. They're going intact. We need you to hold the kitchen flank. But they weren't even thinking about that main meeting hall doorway, which allowed Cyber to just kind of waltz out and get that kill on, or excuse me, it wasn't Cyber. It just allowed the Ella to, it was Yuke waltzing out and getting the kill onto Cyber. Either way, not enough focused on all of the different flank possibilities from Merciless Gaming allowed BRK to utilize what little control they had instead of being completely locked out. They did have the good potential for that round, but unfortunately, just that one oversight.
And I think one of the big issues was what they sent Intact up to try and take down Yuke, who was sitting inside a meeting. Yuke pushed out at that exact same moment, which prompted Intact to have to try to rotate, and there was nobody watching. As the plant was going down, it might have even been a situation where Merciless distracted themselves, and Yuke was able to capitalize on it. Very advantageous timing, and that's the type of thing that you need from your top-tier teams in order to make these plays happen. BRK lost one and then was able to get 5 kills without losing one of their own. That is an impressive feat.
Now moving on to the next round, we are going to be defending the top floor, and we is Merciless Gaming. BRK setting themselves up to start their clear from the west side, same as usual, but also moving over towards the tower. Now they're going to try and open up as many options as they possibly can here for themselves. By opening up that west window, then taking control of tower, that means they can utilize the north windows on the big kids' dorms, and then they can also even come in for an armory attack should they choose. Trying to usher all of the Merciless Gaming defenders into the bomb site will mean they don't have to worry about that oh-so-vicious Merciless roam. Now, as one pushes into the tower, he's actually going to vault out and start to work on the first floor along with Zig.
They'll open up those windows in kids' dorms. And we're just waiting to see what push they're going to make. 1 second left. First leadoff frag, Bullet. Wow, what a shot as he gets Navi's down. And that's just by the basement inside of tower. That's one of the roamers down, and they're going to be running an interesting roam strat now with Bandit as well. But Intact goes down 2 as the rush from Nest comes in. And wow, right now BRK just picking them apart. You mentioned the good roam game.
Yeah.
Look no further than that. All it took was the precision that they needed and 10 seconds to get the 2 key roamers.
Yeah, and that is what BRK is notorious for having done in most of their matches. So it's a big question mark for me, despite the early success of the roam game for Merciless on that basement defense. It's a big question for me why Merciless continues to invest in the roamers. It's not in an unpredictable way. Having somebody in the basement or having somebody towards the main lobby that we just saw from Merciless, they got picked off because those are positions that are commonly roamed upon in Oregon. BRK's got experience dealing with that. That's one of the things that they tend to go for. So I think that it's a little bit of an oversight in investing that heavily for Merciless, and it puts them at a straight disadvantage, I would argue. And again, the more and more they do it, the more and more BRK is going to find their number and understand how to counter that roam. However, there's only 40 seconds left. In a 3 versus 5 for PX and Cyber, all they need to do is anchor hard and wait patiently for the attack to come.
One thing that I like here is they have Boar now on site as Smoke rather than Intact, so I think that they kept that Intact's fragging capabilities was a little bit better. They didn't have Smoke last round as an entry fragger here. Only 20 seconds left. It's a 5v2. Oh my goodness. One tries to swing in 2 kills for Merciless Gaming. An answer back from Uke on BRK, and they're getting that plant off as it is just PX left against 3 members of BRK. Diffuser goes down. PX tries to soften up. Bullet can't do it. Anticipating a push up white stairs from Nesk. A Candela will go off. No blinding at the moment for PX. He's going to see Bullet, but Bullet gets the first shot and the last 2 as BRK once again puts 2 together. And it's 2-1 in their favor.
And I think this lead is just going to continue to extend itself moving forward. Of course, Merciless Gaming on their next defense will be able to defend the basement. However, I don't think they're going to have the same success they did the first time they roamed on the west side. I think that BRK is going to come off of that loss the first round of this map and think to themselves, okay, now we know how to handle this roam game, and we know how to attack onto it. Just treat it as a top 4 defense, pincer those roamers, get yourself a 5v3, and then just attack onto the main lobby drop. Same as they did last time, but now with more manpower. That's probably what they're going to try and achieve. It's a question if they will, though, if they'll be capable of that, because Merciless was really good at holding it out last time. It's just, I think it was those north windows being underutilized. Anyway, Merciless now going to be on attack, BRK on defense, and it's going to be BRK going into that top floor.
No surprise to see Uke top fragging for his team. Intact getting those 3 kills in the very first round, and the rest of his team having to be spread out after that. I think that's a pretty key component too at the moment as to why Merciless is not performing as well as they want. It was off the backs of a strong round from one operator, a bit unconventional, but still nice. And it helped them get round number 1, but this is so far exactly the same as the last game. If Merciless can tie it up, then the first 4 rounds will play out identically, and history is just going to end up repeating itself.
Well, hopefully not.
Well, hopefully, if you're a fan of Merciless Gaming, hopefully not, because BRK was ultimately successful.
I mean, I'd like to see a 3rd map anyway. You know, Clubhouse, it'd be interesting to see how these teams handle it.
Absolutely.
Because specifically Merciless Gaming. Now, they force out their roamers, right? Merciless Gaming just wants to roam, period, no matter what. Even the most dangerous roam on Oregon, which is forcing out the west side of the building. Going on to Clubhouse, you can't roam on a basement hold. You just can't. There's potential to pressure on a basement hold, but if you're roaming hard on a basement hold, you're giving yourself away. You're allowing the enemy to lock you up as a defender and just kind of get you out of the fight, and that's obviously probably not going to happen. So I want to see what Merciless is like when they're not investing heavily in their roam. All that aside, it is going to be BRK now defending on that top floor, and Merciless Gaming starting with tower control, taking out a nice kill headshot onto Zig. That was the Bandit playing inside of the attic, and that's now meeting hall and attic and tower control all forfeited to MG. And another kill from PX onto Uke.
Excellent start by Merciless Gaming. This is what they need to do to try to put us back into contention. I wonder how many rounds we can go and it'll look exactly the same.
Yeah, if Merciless wins this round, again, it will be completely mirrored. And then it would just be one
need
more
to win
Merciless
another
win,
after that.
and then it would be nothing but BRK wins after.
Which, at that point, if you're Merciless, you don't want. But I'm sure
Right.
at the moment their primary focus is on locking down this attack as... Oh, what a shot from one as Intact breaks through that window and the sledge picked off like a clay pigeon right outside of kids' dorms.
That's it. That's why you cannot just be hammering those completely frontal, because you have such a delay after putting away your hammer, and you cannot immediately shoot whoever you see on the other side of the window. Kind of a little bit of a giveaway there by Intact.
A sloppy play results in a very easy kill for the team right now in the lead. And time is just going, and Bullet sitting on site. One is now going to get pressured from the other SAS operator, and Cyber, they'll grab that diffuser as it was dropped from Sledge as Intact had gone down. 40 seconds left, the defense down by one, looking to try and make something work, but Navi's is going to get another kill. This time is Nesk down, 30 seconds left.
See, it's all three of the defenders who were killed are all roamers, and now it's down to the last two angers. Sure, it's in the case of BRK, for example. Oh, a nice frag there from Bullet onto Boar. That's going to put it down into a 2v3. 17 seconds to go, and Merciless Gaming is running out of time. BRK could still salvage this round. As Cyber repels on the north balcony, or north windows with the diffuser, it's not going to matter as the fighting's going down inside the bomb site. Navi's trades for one.
He's the last one left. It's just the Mira. It looked like a plant was going to go down.
No!
How did that C4 miss? And Cyber pushes up to win the round. We are tied 2-2.
On the final second. That was 1 second on the clock, and Cyber came off the defuse plant to get the frag onto the Mira. That was one of the most impressive plays I've seen in a long time. An excellent kill there from Cyber, really counting his odds and going for it despite it being a tricky thing to win. I think that probably should have been the defender's round, but the Mira exposed himself too much. I'm guessing he wasn't expecting the Jackal to peek into him, but still, if he had played on the Mira window, that could have been a BRK round.
I think he pushed up to anticipate getting the Nitro Cell off, but even with the Gersmont mine disorienting the Jackal, it was a nice hipfire kill that managed to seal the deal for them.
Well,
not exactly a miscue, just an unfortunate series of events that led to the Mira of BRK going down, and with that, we are back at a tie game.
I don't say this as a point of like being a bad thing or anything like that, but the Latin American region, I know as a whole, the majority of them use very fast sensitivities. So a Gersmont mine is going to, yes, disorient you, but the slower you're slowing down your sensitivity isn't going to mean that much if you're playing on 1600 DPI, 50-50 in game, 50 ADS. It's not really going to be that big of a deal. So yeah, it is going to be. Merciless evening that out, the 2-2, keeping their hopes and dreams alive. And it was all came down to that excellent kill there from the Jackal. I believe was Cyber.
It was a great play on a hip fire kill. And I want to stress that knowing that, just your quick reflex and maybe a bit of RNG to where that bullet spread goes, but when you're that close, it doesn't really matter because the target's going to get soaking up all of those bullets. Anyway, now we do appear to be a tower push from BRK as Nesk shoots out a couple of those windows, and Yuke is now going to rotate over to join him. We still got a lot of game left to play. Only 30 seconds in. Almost nearly shot his own teammate there.
Well, I mean, Cyber has been given team damage down to the point of 35 HP. I'm not sure what happened there. Probably an impact grenade or two doing that damage. But it is going to actually put him at a very difficult spot because a lot of guns on the attacking team will kill him 1 or 2 shots now as opposed to possible 3. Which is a lot in the grand scheme of things. When we're talking about a 3 speed, it isn't as much as it would be as a 3 armor, but it's still not the disposition that you want to have in this fight. And as the round goes out, it is going to be Merciless Gaming holding fast against a construction push from BRK. The mirror window is going to be the main point of contention here for BRK, but elsewhere, Navi's is going to get taken out by Bullet before a refrag from Cyber onto 1, and then another kill from Bullet onto Intact, Cyber onto Bullet. It's just back and forth here, ladies and gentlemen, inside the meeting hall, which we missed all of it, unfortunately, but it did happen, and that's going to be the roam game still staying alive for Merciless Gaming, if not taking a huge toll.
And one thing that we are seeing for I believe the first time we are seeing a construction-led Ying push. The deviation from the way that you use her, those smokes and those candelas, and we're going to see how well it works in favor of the attack. We've seen it works almost every single time when you attack the main lobby and you go after bomb site A, but B is a bit trickier. And at the moment, the defense looks to be holding on by the skin of their teeth. It's 60 seconds to go, still plotting their attack, but that trading back and forth, like you said upstairs in Meeting Hall, that roam game was a lot more proficient when you attack from construction than when you usually see from Meeting Hall and the front of Oregon.
But the time is ticking away here. Only 42 seconds. BRK isn't really trying to do anything with this time. They're just kind of waiting for the peaks to come from Merciless, and they're just not happening. As the Cadellas and Smokes come out, though, it is going to be PX who is full blinded on the mirror window. But his teammate goes down from behind, and there's no cover for PX anymore. He's got to play his own game. Ness gets a kill elsewhere onto Cyber before PX refrags onto Uke, and it's a swift double kill from BRK. Nesk and Zig putting up the work to end out this round.
And BRK will break the streak that we were having of every round ending the same way in our previous game as they now pull ahead.
And it was, what that was from BRK was, despite them spending a lot of time just waiting, that was just them getting themselves into position to collapse together as a team. Because what we weren't seeing, the action we didn't see there, was happening in the actual laundry room and the other bomb site, the A bomb site. And that was, I think it was Ness coming down the main stairs. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Ness coming down the main stairs on Ash and getting the kill from behind onto Cyber. That was the most important frag because Cyber was in the position, he was in the clutch, the playmaker position. The two defenders who were playing on the mirror window and box inside of the B bomb site, they were cannon fodder. They were to be expended and killed off in the attack coming from construction. What Merciless wasn't expecting, though, was the flank from the Ash on the main lobby stairs that you can see highlighted right here. If that hadn't happened for BRK, it arguably could have been a Merciless round, as Cyber would have swiftly came in and cleaned up after the utility had been used from BRK's attack.
And I don't know if this speaks to BRK as a team or not, but I don't think Ying was as optimal a pick there as she is when you attack from the other way around. Those Candelas did not get you the same mileage, largely because of the way the mirror was placed and because you have that cover from bomb site B to continue shooting down to construction, especially when you have the defense shooting all those walls out and giving them the long lines of sight. Because of this, you could have even argued that if you wanted to get the most out of Yuke's Candelas, have him at the last second peel off. It might take a while because you are a 3 armor, or sorry, not a 3 armor, but you aren't a 3 speed rather. Have Ying go up top, and now pressure from the other side while the rest of the push comes through construction.
Yeah,
it would have to give them an opportunity to expend their resources in 2 separate directions.
Yeah, because the reason, okay, so what you're using those smokes and candelas for, you're using those smokes and candela to trap out Cyber and try and just disorient PX as much as you can. But why are you doing that when you're also bringing a flank in from the main lobby? It's just kind of splitting up your push, and it really is unnecessary as well. I agree with you. If the Candela had come from the main lobby instead of the Ash, I think the Ash could have still made use of her flashbangs on PX, and then Cyber could have had his own world of doom to deal with. However, I mean, it doesn't matter. BRK still won that round, and now it's going to be on attack to clear out this west side of the building, and Merciless Gaming as a whole to get the control they need to attack onto this basement hold.
Cyber's going to get dropped from Nesk. A great shot from the Valkyrie of BRK, who manages to get away with very little health, just a little under half, as BRK looks to push this to match point and is holed up upstairs inside of kids' dorms. Unsurprising to see one roamer up there, of course, but it's up to Intact.
I think Nesk has been downed by the shotgun.
It does look that way, yes. And I don't know if Intact knew that, but manages to finish up and gets the frag. Cocks the other frag grenade, looks to try to get one member of BRK, look to drop it on a bullet, but nothing in that way. And they'll manage to get away. A good meeting hold right now from BRK.
They're just trying to stall off this round as much as they possibly can.
And if you look at the time right now, I would still say that there is a distinct lack of coordination from Merciless to be able to get onto site. And if killing time is your priority, you're doing a good job. That roamer, a bullet in Meeting Hall, is able to pick up a kill. And now Uke drops PX. And BRK in excellent shape. Going into the final minute, it's just the Ash and the Ying left. They still do have the diffuser, so no retrieval needed there. And they do, of course, still have that smoke and flash combo. But BRK has to feel good about their chances.
Yeah, the 2 versus 4 with only 49 seconds to go, and you're using your utility on that main Meeting Hall doorway. That means you're not putting enough pressure and focus onto the actual bomb site, which means that the bomb site players in Zig and I believe that is Uke are going to be a lot more maneuverable and have more options in general. Also, Bullet coming up from the meeting hall, he's going to go for that late flank. And as the time ticks away, Merciless Gaming really needs to get this push now.
And BRK is going to be deprived of having a smoke or an echo, and it's going to make it so Merciless literally just waltzes right into the site. Zig throws out, and he team kills Yuke. And oh my goodness, the diffuser is not down, and they still down Navi's, but managed to get a team kill on that one. Now one is going to pressure, Boar is going to get him down. It's just Zig left, but are they going to run out of time to get that diffuser starting? Zig is going to run up, he doesn't see him. What a play by Zig, and BRK moves to match point.
That was a back and forth round there, ladies and gentlemen, but BRK still managing to put it in their favor. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that to go as far as it went toward for Merciless Gaming. I thought the round was going to be over much sooner, but they brought it from a 2-on-4 to a 2-on-1 in the last couple seconds of that round, and I was not very excited. I was not very. I didn't expect it. I thought that Merciless was going to struggle with that round. I thought it was going to be a surefire BRK win. And it did turn out to be a BRK win.
It did.
It was a nice fight that Merciless put up.
It was very close. It looked like they were going to be able to get it off. Now, as I was saying that you don't have the smoke, you don't have the echo, you do, of course, if you've punched a hole in that closet or even next to the mirror window, you can still, of course, extend that nitro cell. It's not always going to be able to make it, especially if you're in that laundry closet and you throw it. The blast radius is just going to get to where that plant goes off. A big reason for why teams are now planting in that corner rather than on top of washer is because of that. The nitro cell will get you on the washer. It won't get you in that corner. Navi's was downed because he wasn't at full health. Pretty standard stuff there. And they were able to capitalize on it by Zig getting up in the face of the attackers, catching them off guard, and as that diffuser was going down, you didn't really have an opportunity. Boar needed to get it off because if he stopped, the round was over no matter what.
Absolutely, and you can attribute also a lot of it to the stall out that happened for Merciless Gaming, trying to deal with that roam game and being completely, hopefully, unsuccessful in doing so. Now it is going to be a complete attack here from BRK, seemingly onto the construction and red tower side of things. There is a little bit of pressure, interestingly, being put over by the west side, but I think what's going to happen here is that BRK might do something we've seen before, which is start their attack towards the tower and the meeting hall, then also open up that main lobby drop down and go do a complete 180, shift over towards the main drop down in the lobby, and do the very typical smoke Candela plant. Could be they're trying to repeat what they did in the past, though, as it might not be working out for them, however, as Intact takes out Bullet outside of tower. That's just Intact chilling inside the tower, and he will also get away with his life, with if not just a couple points of HP lost.
A very aggressive smoke play, and it was something that did work for Merciless last time. They have Intact pick up that smoke roll instead of Boar. Could be because of fragging potential. Usually you don't rely on your smoke to always get kills unless it's a push onto site, because you take that risk by having your smoke roam or push the entry fraggers. You lose all of those smoke grenades very early on. As we can see, Intact, it's taken down and then picked back up. So now he'll be at 50% of his health, and Navi's scampers onto site. The rare Legion play here, which is nice to see. And we're going to have yet another, as now he's going to return the favor, and Intact is going to be able to get him up.
So 2 resets from Merciless Gaming is going to give them at least another 50 points of HP overall between the two players. And that's a very conservative play there for, whoa, and it's all lost as Yuke rushes down to the main hallway and takes out Navi's, peeking way too aggressively. Another thing to note is that's the first time we've seen Legion, I think, in quite a long time in the Pro League. But elsewhere, Nesk is being downed inside the stage area before the defender who did it falls back off the angle.
I believe that was Boar.
Oh, what an impact grenade. That was from downstairs, I think. Either way, an excellent impact grenade from Cyber onto the main stage.
It's a heck of a throw.
Oh, no, it was all the way from the other end of the meeting hall. Excuse me, either way, still
it's still a heck of a frag.
Yeah, I think you could retire and be a pitcher.
I hear the Dodgers are doing well. So,
so it's going to be Merciless Gaming with the man advantage now in this 4v3. As 30 seconds tick down, or 40 seconds tick down, there isn't a lot of time for BRK to actually make their execution. And in this instance, Merciless has 2 backup clutch playmakers in position in A.
And you've managed to get Intact from that very early frag to knock them off their game. Now back onto site. Another member of BRK is going to go down on a great C4 from the Pulse of Boar. And BRK in bad shape. Uke gets in, gets the Gersmont mine concussed, and throws out the Candela. You'll hear a smoke go off. Cyber's going to do cleanup work on one. Uke gets another kill, but gets taken out by Cyber. And oh my, we are one away from potentially going to overtime. Still match point in favor of BRK, currently 4-3.
So we ended up in the same spot that we were at on the last map, although a slightly different path. 4-3, it was the case for Merciless on Consulate. Now it is also on Oregon. The question is, will they actually be able to get that overtime this time, or will BRK yet again lock it out 5-3? BRK going to be defending yet again, and it's going to be Merciless on tech.
I've liked BRK on attack more than I have on defense so far.
Yes.
Not that they're any slouches, but I just think that they have that synergy to be able to push. Now
they're going to be defending the top floor.
Correct.
And what happened in the last time they defended the top floor was the roamers got hunted down by Merciless ruthlessly.
Yes.
And that's been the case for both teams. Every time there's a roaming game, it's either it's decided by the roaming game and not by virtue of the map necessarily, mostly just by virtue of the teams and players individually and what their actual priorities are. They seem to, as both of them, BRK and Merciless alike, want to hunt the roamers and have quite a lot of investment in those roamers, which results in the strategy, I would say, being chopped down into micro strategy, in that it all comes down to the roamers. The actual site pushes, I would argue, are not that important.
For me, I want to see how Bora is going to employ the Ying up top. Because we've seen it many times. Again, you push up the white stairs, you throw your Candela out. Well, there's still somebody in Kid Storms to be able to take you down. You try to throw it through that large window that you have, and by the time you get in, there's either somebody playing underneath or somebody guarding that rotation hole next to the bunks. We might actually see a returned favor now, as Nesk looks to be getting a spawn peek off after Intact had done so last round as Smoke. But there's nobody there, and he'll get away. Not bother wasting any of his time.
And Merciless Gaming is going to start their west side clear as well as their tower clear. Just to get that flank established as a non-factor for the defenders, and so they don't have to worry about any pressure from behind. Merciless Gaming kind of taking it nice and slow. They don't have really much to worry about in terms of the roam game, though, it seems here from BRK. It's much lesser than it used to be. Only 2 roamers that I can see right now. And other than that, I think, no, actually 3 roamers, as there is the bandit inside of the kitchen, it would seem. So, yeah, actually, if they just push into the bomb site, which looks like what they might be doing through that main west window, they might have a complete successful round here with those Candelas and nades and smokes going down to the complete disruption for Merciless Gaming. As Navi's gets the first kill of the round onto Uke on that entry frag, the defuse plant is going down. PX will get another one onto the other anchor of the bomb site, and now it's all down to the 3 roamers. Cyber gets his team kill, unfortunately, and that's going to give a little bit to BRK, but the diffuser having been planted and 3 people from Merciless outside that main west window, it's almost impossible for BRK to come back from this, and I think we will see over time.
Surprising not to have a pulse play underneath that site. I'm not certain why they would go with the players that they did, especially a bandit here in this situation. Bullet's going to get a kill on Navi's.
It could happen.
It could absolutely happen. So as much as we said that the Ying strategy didn't really work, it caught BRK flat-footed. Zig is going to try to go for the flank, and Board tears him apart. Nesk is going to get a kill on Cyber, but that diffuser is all but done. So BRK is going to be able to rally back, but they're going to simply run out of time. No way for them to get this off, and we are headed to overtime. Oh my.
A good overtime there from Merciless Gaming, and it was just a straight west window rush, and that stands to reason as BRK has so heavily invested in their roam game time and time again on that top floor defense. Just saying, hey, there's 3 off the bomb site, let's deal with the 2, use our disruption, end the round. And we've seen this execution happen a couple times before throughout this season. It's been hopefully unsuccessful. A good execution from Merciless in this instance was successful, and I think, again, it just comes down to 2 on site. There's not much to deal with.
Zig was on Zig might as well have been playing on Chalet when that plant was going off, because he was so far off site, and by the time he was able to get back and really apply any pressure, which we saw in the small tower, it didn't really matter because they had already lined up. There was one watching the flank, which was Boar, and the diffuser going off. Yes, they did end up getting some frags after that, but until that point, Zig was largely a non-factor in most of that match, and if you are BRK, that's got to be disheartening, because even having that one player playing underneath as Pulse, waiting for somebody to jump in, or even playing permanently in small tower rather than having to rotate from large tower all the way across, I think would have made a big difference, and it would have caused them to delay their push, which they just basically waltzed straight in, got the diffuser off, and got out.
To summarize, they needed somebody to stop the West Lobby push.
Absolutely.
Period. End of story. That's all they really needed, and they just didn't have that. They had so many people set up to hold other parts of the building.
Right.
However, now moving on to this round, it is going to be... Oh no, wasted for Candela. That is unfortunate. That is truly unfortunate. A little bit of utility loss there for Merciless Gaming. So I think that what's happening here is BRK also made up for it though, as Navi's takes out a Mira window. That's very good.
The moment it gets set down.
Right. He
one
was just
scoots
staring,
away.
waiting for it to happen. Really, truly unfortunate there for BRK. But anyway, I think that BRK actually drew the short stick here, because even if they do successfully defend this basement, Merciless Gaming has had BRK's number when it comes to a top floor defense, which, if they successfully defend the basement, they're going to have to go to. So I think that it's all in Merciless's hands now to push it to that map number 3.
They've got the momentum, I would say, if you're able to take BRK, and this was BRK's map. We did say going in, there was some slight amicable disagreement between us as to whether or not this was going to be a romp for BRK or whether it was going to go
Clearly
to overtime.
has not.
And it has not been as easy for them. And I think this match is a lot closer than people anticipated, which once again shows that those community polls, you might want to start betting on the underdog because they're going to surprise you.
You know, it used to be in previous seasons of Rainbow Six, like I'm talking year 1, it used to be in year 1 that every single match was completely predictable. The teams were, it was obvious who was going to win, who was going to lose. But it's gotten to the point now where the competition is so fierce, and as Cyber runs into the big kids' dorms and takes out Yuke hiding in the corner, proving my point, that any team can stand up to any other team in the league for the most part. There are very few definitive, and I would argue, matches in Latin America, Europe, or North America alike. Now, Merciless Gaming looking pretty strong on this round as they take another 2 kills, putting it into a 5-on-2. This might just be a 5-4 now for Merciless Gaming very early in this round as they open up the main lobby dropdown.
A little bit of a waste of the X-Kairos there, as Intact is just going to buck all of that open. And they didn't even bother to defend it. You've just got a pulse, which would have been really helpful last round for the other team, of course, or for BRK rather, because they did get the opportunity to go back to defense by virtue of coin toss, I suppose, as you could call it. And one is trapped now. They also didn't run a smoke. This is the second time that I have seen a defense here where there has been no smoke, especially with how prevalent Ying is. It seems nonsensical. Navi's an amazing round as he finishes things off with 2 clutch kills, and Merciless Gaming is going to go to match point. This looked like BRK's round and map to lose, and lose they actually may.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot for BRK to bounce back from. Now they're going to have to attack onto Merciless Gaming, who will defend their preferred bomb site, which seems to be the basement, I believe that is. And then after that, though, here's the thing. If they can successfully attack, if they can successfully attack the basement, then that means that they will very likely, well, obviously that's going to allow BRK to defend the basement yet again. So if BRK can correct mistakes that they made on that last round, play a little bit more safe, and not die so many people to those roamers, or as a roamer, wait. So obviously I don't read Portuguese, so I couldn't actually tell what that was, but it didn't. It turned out to be the red tower, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to see Merciless Gaming give us a complete curveball here and go to the red tower. Now, we've seen curveballs like this be to the detriment of teams when they're in the lead before. Will it defeat Merciless Gaming here now, or will they successfully be able to trip up BRK? This is a huge risk for Merciless, and I don't think it's warranted, given they are still the ones who are at the map disadvantage here. They need to win this overtime, or it's over for them.
Leave it to a Latin American team to take the rear stage red tower hold. Of course, unsurprising, and we talked about this yesterday. The word I used was cute.
Yeah.
When teams get cute and throw these wrenches into the plans of the attackers, more often than not, the attackers are still able to counter it because it's not always a go-to defense. Unless Merciless has this as one of their pocket strats, which I'm not familiar enough with MG to know if it is. But if this is not something that they are entirely comfortable with, they've got their work cut out for them against as formidable
I would
a team
argue,
as BRK.
Yeah, I would argue going up against BRK, you're not doing something like this unless it's clearly a pocket strat. They had to have practiced this. There's no way they're doing it like, yeah, let's throw this lead. That's the strat. No, they understand what they're doing.
Bold strategy.
Yeah, bold strategy, Con. But it's obviously they understand what they're doing here, and they're going to have a good defense. But the question is, what will BRK's execution be? Because there's many ways that they could incorrectly execute onto this bomb site and trip themselves up, resulting in a lost round. One of the things that's cool about this bomb site, if the attackers come from inside the building, which BRK is doing, that means you can utilize the basement as a roam game. Oh, a nice shot from Nesk onto Intact. That's going to be a good start for BRK, and that might spell the end of this round for Merciless, as every single frag and man advantage has been has usually cascaded into a win for both of these teams.
You can see that already they're going to have to expend one of those smoke grenades extremely early. You might see them burn one to try and get a bit of a delay to get people back on site. We saw this yesterday on Oregon as well. There was a smoke that went down, and then one of the North American matches, I believe it was Most Wanted and Elevate, in order to allow them to rotate back onto the site to buy yourself some time. A smart idea. In this case, it looked like that smoke was simply done to just buy themselves time and not have that push happen at that exact moment, which is not what you really want those smokes for most of the time.
Yeah, but as the time ticks away, they have gotten that initial frag, BRK, but now they're just kind of stalling out in the main building. They need to make some more pressure actually into the attic and meeting hall, which is where Merciless is holding, trying to delay this attack. Now, the advantage BRK had in the earlier stages, well, they still have it technically, is that they can address this bomb site from outside, but they're not actually utilizing that at all. They're simply trying to pressure primarily from inside the meeting hall, which works, and it has obviously put them in the man advantage, but as you can see, it took so much time, they only have 30 seconds for their push.
And 2 deployable shields down does make me believe that this is exactly what they've practiced. Candela's going off, and a wall of yellow smoke that Yuke is not able to push through, but they've managed to get the diffuser down. A big misplay happening amidst the chaos. BRK able to drop that diffuser, and Merciless Gaming is now going to have to scramble. One is going to pick off Navi's as he tries to get back onto the site, and one's going to get a kill onto Cyber now. Nesk gets a kill onto Cyber. Excellent plays so far. Boar takes down Zig, but right now BRK, they are unable to dislodge one. He's going to get another on PX, and it's just up to Boar. The rear stage hold, not a wise idea as Bullet gets Boar exposed outside.
Oh, boy.
And wow, a bold strategy does not pay off. BRK punishing them as they should, and to the last round of overtime, the tiebreaker of tiebreakers.
I think all that was there from BRK was simply walking into the meeting hall, taking control of meeting hall, then opening up the tower door and planting the diffuser through cover of smoke. I think that's all that was. And there was nothing in the Merciless Gaming arsenal to try and stop that plant, as the smoke was occupied, and arguably most were occupied with the attic push. So all the disruption was being tossed. Ella's smoke or gas grenades, they were all being smoked into the attic, or thrown into the attic, and that resulted in a very easy attack for BRK. Now another thing, BRK gets to defend the bomb site that they prefer as opposed to the top floor, and they are going to be much more comfortable here. Now they did have a bad go of it last time, but I would say that this is their time to read back on the mistakes on that first overtime round and correct themselves, come out here strong, and put this into, well, lock it out with no map 3. Merciless Gaming, I have to argue, with that last round, effectively threw away the map. If they lose here, it's on them.
That's got to be the turning point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And once again, we see BRK not using a smoke. I believe it was Canadian from CTM who had tweeted last week, if I see another team defend downstairs without a smoke, I'm going to lose my mind.
And it's happening over and over again here. And honestly, it's kind of frustrating me a little bit too, because it's like, it's not just the meta. Playing a smoke for the basement hold isn't just meta, it's essential.
Non-negotiable.
It's non-negotiable. You don't even have an echo. There is so little in your arsenal to stop a plant in the main lobby dropdown. You've got 3 C4s and Ellas, all right, but it's just not the same. I would even ditch 2 of those C4s, again, for an echo and a smoke. That's much more disruption. It seems like the BRK is kind of just forcing out their own preferred little thing here, and it obviously it hasn't been working for them. So will it continue to be to their disadvantage, or will they be able to force this to work for them this one round that is the end of all rounds in this map?
With how successful I think we've been seeing this push from the front of Oregon down that main hatch and dumping the Candelas and the smokes, I wouldn't be too surprised to start seeing teams running both a smoke and an echo in combination with one another. Have yourself a Jaeger, have your Ella, and then put your Mira on site, reinforce that front hatch, or reinforce that front wall, blow the side of it out, have your smoke in there, Yokai somewhere nearby that you can see them when they start that push, but can still get a good shot at where the typical diffuser is now, allowing the Mira, if they need to get a C4 out onto a plant on top of the washer, and then you still have that Jaeger and Ella to roam inside of Meeting Hall. I don't know why teams aren't doing it. In this case, they have neither. And this could be BRK even throwing the round if they aren't able to successfully counter that push.
Yeah, the thing is, Merciless Gaming, they're setting themselves up perfectly right now with no loss whatsoever in the early round to do a very typical attack into the main lobby drop-down. And again, they have that full 5-man power. That means they can watch all of the flank potential, including this tower staircase, and they can also just kind of push in with complete coverage using the smokes and the Candelas to get a nice and easy diffuser plant. Although they're using their Candelas elsewhere. I'm interested to see. Oh, here comes the push here, ladies and gentlemen.
They're going to drop a Candela in, but from a bit of an unconventional angle. But Yuke gets very aggressive underneath that hatch and is able to pick off PX. That is the Hibana down before a nice frag from Intact takes Zig down. Diffuser is still down. They still have Candelas available to them, but it's the final 30 seconds of what could be the final match between these two teams. Candelas will go off. Intact will scoot over to get the diffuser down, and one is completely blind. The C4 will go down, and he'll get him. This time they do not miss. That C4 from Nesk, and a second kill onto Cyber as Bullet cleans up Navi's. It's just Boar left, who is getting the plant off through the cover of smoke, and they manage to get him down. BRK is going to move on. They make that last round so quickly and look so easily. Good try to Merciless, but BRK too much, and that rear stage and red tower hold.
That was it.
That's
That was
gotta
the throw.
be it.
I mean, Merciless had 3 rounds in a row. They were looking so strong, and then, oh, let's defend tower. No, that's not the time for you to experiment. You're a map down, you're on match point, you need to lock it out. And no, they threw it away. It is honestly really disheartening to see. I like the changes, it's cool, you know, different bomb site, try something new. But it is a very difficult bomb site to defend, and ultimately I think it did cost them that match as it just shifted the momentum into high gear for BRK by giving them a free round win.
And great play by Cyber in both of those maps too. The standout performer, in my opinion, for Merciless Gaming, and really the largest reason why they were able to stay as competitive what they were. These were a lot closer matches than it looked, and this really could have gone either way. The score is going to say 2-0 for BRK, but to anybody watched, and for us, of course, we know that it's not as clear-cut. So great job to them. They will advance to the winners match, and